So what exactly is the Hefni Pentatonic System? If you've been following my blog, you know that the Hefni Pentatonic System is the next level up in our learning of chord tone soloing. This comes after note targeting, shape targeting, guide tone targeting, arpeggios, scalar interchange, and pentatonic interchange. In a nutshell, the Hefni Pentatonic System uses altered pentatonic scales to target all the chord tones in a chord progression. The concept of altered pentatonics is not new. We've all heard of the Robin Ford pentatonic scale, we've all heard of the Eric Johnson pentatonic. There are quite a few others. However, this field of altered pentatonics has not really been fully explored, especially when it comes to application and on the guitar. About 8 years ago, I became interested in researching altered pentatonics. Altered pentatonics is simply altering the notes of the major or minor pentatonic scales to come up with different tonalities. So for instance, if we were to begin with the A major pentatonic, say for instance, if we shifted the major 6 up a whole step, we would get so that would be the A major 7th pentatonic. Let's try another one. Let's take A minor pentatonic. Right, so let's shift the minor 3rd to a major 3rd, and we would all know this as, right, this is the Mixolydian pentatonic. Everybody knows this as the Eric Johnson pentatonic. One more, right, let's say, okay, again the minor pentatonic. Okay, let's shift the flat 7 back a half step, we would get, we sometimes call this the Robin Ford pentatonic. So that's the idea of altered pentatonics. Now, as the years progressed in my research, the number of altered pentatonic scales amassed grew to about 55, which I grouped according to 11 scale families, if you will. So how do you use altered pentatonic scales? If you're a rocker like myself, you can begin by using them diatonically in your key. Say for instance E minor, you apply all of those pertinent to E minor. You can also use them modally because each scale family has its distinct tonality. So if you want to use a dominant tonality, then pick a family that has that dominant sound. In chord tone soloing, if you were to map out the chord tones of a given chord progression, say for instance the 2-5-1, okay, in C major, right? So you have D minor 7, so these are the notes, G7, C major 7, right? You notice that these chord tones, right, in isolation, they fit certain shapes. I realized that you could actually use altered pentatonic shapes to hit all of these chord tones. See, the problem with the previous level of pentatonic interchange, where we use just the standard pentatonic scales, some of these chord tones are hit, some of them are missed. Now, a lot of the chord tone soloing courses that you find online use primarily triads in the rock and the pop context. So they don't really address the 4 notes of a 7th chord. Similarly, when you learn chords for jazz and blues, you're often told to play only the shell voicing. So for instance, okay, D minor 7, we would omit the 5th. G7s, similarly. Right? So if you were to omit the 5th, the problem is similar to playing a triad. You are only playing 3 notes instead of 4. If we were to map out the entire 4 notes of the 7th chords, then we're able to see all of these shapes. And as I said, I discovered that, hey, the altered pentatonic scales that I knew actually fit these patterns. So let me demonstrate. Say for instance D minor 7, we have this pentatonic, G7 we get, and then C major 7, if you want to continue it with say F major 7, okay, B minor 7 flat 5, E7 flat 9, and then A minor 7, and A7, oops, sorry about that at the end, but you get the idea here. Real chord tone soloing, you can even hear the chord even though when it's not there, because in your lines you're already playing the chord tone. So let me demonstrate it without the chords. Right. But that's not all. The Hefni Pentatonic System, for every chord that you play, you actually have 3 altered pentatonic scales that can fit that chord. So say for instance again, D minor 7, you have this one. Okay, I'm not going to go to names for now because I haven't introduced them to you yet. We have this one as well. We also have this one. Right, so similarly for the G7, you have 3 options. You also have, and you also have, all of them fit G7. And lastly, C major 7, you have, I like this one, which is the Javanese pentatonic, I called it. And lastly, this one. Okay, so now if you have 3 options for every chord, right? Say for instance you have an 8-bar circle of fifths progression, the possibilities are immense, right? You can mix and match between all of the altered pentatonic scales to come up with your own lines. There is a lot of information here. So how do we begin learning the Hefni Pentatonic System? The system is designed so that you have to learn the chords first in a particular box location and the corresponding, what we call the pentatonic change sequence. We break up the neck into the 5 scale boxes. In each of the scale boxes, we have the corresponding chord changes, and we also pack the pentatonic scale changes to those chord changes. As there are 5 scale boxes in 1 octave, we'll be learning chord changes and the pentatonic scale changes at 5 different locations. Now the best part about this system is, as you know, all scale patterns on guitar are transposable. We can simply transpose the same chord progression. For instance, 2-5-1 in C, right? We can simply transpose that to F. And the corresponding pentatonic change sequence will also shift accordingly to this new location. In essence, the Hefni Pentatonic System is transposable throughout the entire fretboard to any key. Now, some altered pentatonic scales Because we alter the notes from the major or minor pentatonic, the easiest way to play them would be to play sometimes 3 notes on one string. However, in order to get the most benefit out of the Hefni Pentatonic System, I've arranged these altered pentatonic scales to be 2 notes per string. So this means you can continuously use alternate picking throughout, thereby bridging the gap between scalar playing and chord tones. The only change that you need to do is to learn these new shapes on your fretting hand. Sometimes these alternate pentatonic scales require slightly larger stretches than usual. For instance, it's like a 5-note stretch. Right, but mastering them is actually well worth the effort. I will begin introducing some of these altered pentatonic scales in the coming videos. The next video I will be talking about 2 things. Number 1, in order to jump into the Hefni Pentatonic System, we need a point of reference. And that video basically addresses rethinking the major and the minor pentatonic scale. Hi guys, I hope you liked that video. In the meantime, you can check out my ebook on this topic, The Fundamentals of the Hefni Pentatonic System, through the link below. You can also check out my blog on chordtonesoloing.com. Till next time.